everybody. Joe Jordy here at BlackBerry.com. I'm here at BlackBerry Live 2013 in Orlando, Florida. And right here to the right of me is Anders Jeppsson. He's head of global gaming for BlackBerry. And we're going to talk about a lot of exciting stuff. Last time we talked, he was in San Jose, and that was pre-BlackBerry 10 launch.
Yep.
And now we got BlackBerry 10, so a lot of amazing stuff's happened. We have games now, and so let's start with the first question. Let's get right into it. What are we thinking that attracts game developers to the BlackBerry 10 platform? As far as game developers just starting out, or game developers who've been around for a while?
I think we've seen a big transition in the last 2 years where developers traditionally just they were doing their stuff on one platform and they stayed at that. But then it became more and more crowded on iOS, and they saw the revenue drop to basically zero unless they were featured. So they were starting to look around, okay, what do we need to do? And obviously the answer is going cross-platform. It's one of the answers. So they were looking at, okay, how do we need to build our games now to be able to port them easily to other platforms as well? And what we did a couple of years ago when we started looking at how we're going to build BlackBerry 10 was actually about basing it on open standards and open source to make it easy for game developers to go cross-platform.
Yeah.
So that sort of married together very nicely. And now game developers are looking at BlackBerry 10 as a platform, and they see that it takes them maybe 2 days to port their games over from iOS or Android to BlackBerry 10, and they start monetizing. So many people make their money back after a couple of days.
So money's coming in then? For
yes, for sure. And it's still early days for BB10 as we launched in January, but they're seeing steady growth of revenue now, slowly as we roll it out, and we're gaining market share again.
And I know you guys are like you and Sean Paul. You guys are amazing on the gaming team. That's why I say gaming is absolutely incredible with BlackBerry. That's one of the strong points, I believe. But as far as like gaming ratio, this is just kind of a question I've always had is like games to other app ratio. You know what that is? Like,
I mean, if you look at competing platforms, it's I think 70% or so of the revenue is made from the games.
Yeah.
And then the download ratio is also something in that sort of range. And I don't have our numbers.
Yeah.
And it's early days, but I mean, I would imagine it being somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Even if it might differ a little bit.
Yeah.
When we came out with the playbook, and games, we had a lot of great games on the playbook, and new are still coming in, and developers are doing really good business on the playbook. So it seems like the BlackBerry users, they love it.
Let's go ahead to the next question here. How easy it is for developers to port I know you just kind of touched on it right now. To port
that's been sort of the big consideration for building this from the ground up. It's to make it easy for the developers so they can actually focus on what is meaningful for their users and the consumers, to do the differentiating things and what sort of attracts the consumer to come back to their product. So looking at the native SDK, it's very clean and based on open standards, but we also have support for all the major game engines like Marmalade, Shiva, and now Unity. So Unity is going into open beta this week, which means that developers can start just pushing the button on Unity, deploying BlackBerry, and upload it to our app store. And so
has that been pretty successful? Like as far as
it's coming out this week. So
nice.
for Unity developers, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of developers. Yeah. And we have a really great performance on Unity.
So we should see a surge, a spike.
That should be a big spike of games coming in.
If somebody's just starting out developing, right? Where should they start? Let's say you want to develop, you have a little bit of knowledge and you want to just start, or you have no knowledge at all, and you're like, I want to make games for BlackBerry 10. Where are they going to start?
I mean, it completely depends on what kind of knowledge you have, right? Are you a web developer, C++, or could you do some scripting maybe, and maybe do something like Unity game engine, where we don't have to be super proficient with gaming, and the tool is actually helping you a lot. But there are a lot of great schools as well that teach game development, especially where I came from in Sweden. We have a lot of schools teaching both the programming side of things, the art side of things, and the game design side. And I know you have them too. So here in North America. So that's a good way as well. And getting up with a couple of friends.
A lot of talent coming out of Sweden. That's really cool. And so I mean, basically they can start out with like basic HTML or whatever, and work their way up into other.
Or whatever sort of where you come from. And everybody has their own background in the end. But what is common to game developers in general, that they're very, very passionate and they're very creative. Because it's not like you're not building an Excel program or some sort of calculator kind of thing. Or some sort of, you have to attract the consumer, and it's very interactive. Like when you're touching something, it needs to react immediately. Otherwise, it's going to be a good user experience.
UI too.
So it's highly user experience kind of driven design around games, which makes it fun.
Okay, yeah, good. And I know you guys on BlackBerry, you have a big developer, page and everything like that. On BlackBerry.com that people can go to and
for
learn
sure.
and stuff like
and
that.
also, we actually even built a framework for those kind of developers called Gameplay 3D. So if you go to github.com/BlackBerry, you can download a cross-platform game engine that supports iOS and Android and BB10 and desktop Windows and desktop Mac, and you can learn from that code and you can use it for free to whatever you want for whatever you want. It's a good starting point as well to learn how you write your own code.
Great, yeah.
There's tons of stuff.
Everything's about BlackBerry 10. Seems like everything BlackBerry 10. BlackBerry 10, it just came out.
Yeah.
But what about BBOS? Is it? I know you said you can, maybe just tell us a little bit about, there's still games coming out for BBOS.
No, for sure. And I mean, we have a really big loyal following there. 70 million plus users running.
Still a lot. We always
loving their balls and their 9900s, etc. So any day now we're going to see games from Halfbrick, for example, Monster Dash and Fruit Ninja. They look and play amazing, and their game loft are still pumping out great games, and they love the BBOS platform.
There's still a lot of millions and millions of users. They can still,
for sure.
But
nice. As we see, time rolling on, obviously those users would want to get a Q5 or a Q10 or a C10.
So is there any changes that people need to make to bring their games
for a game developer, you mean?
Yeah, for a game developer to bring it, or just go.
I would say zero, because the main difference is the only difference is there's a little bit less internal memory, but that is just on the margin, so it wouldn't affect any of the games that are on the Q10.
It's almost just straight right over.
Yeah, it is, and the CPU speed is a little bit lower, but not low enough. And then the same GPU as on the Q10, so the same performance.
So we should see the same games for Q10 also coming on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's good to know. I know what your favorite feature is on BlackBerry 10. This is kind of a personal question for you.
Wow.
What do you think?
That's really hard. I can tell you, I was so excited about learning about the BlackBerry Messenger channels that we're building. So it's not on BB10 yet, but that's going to be a fantastic way to engage with what I care about and how I can sort of learn about what's happening, the latest update, the latest tricks in that game, etc.
Z10 or Q10?
Oh, that's a rough one. I knew that was coming. I used to be a full touch person, and I love that obviously because of the extra screen estate when I'm browsing the internet and stuff. But as I'm in my job, I actually do a lot of sort of emailing and stuff as well. So I would actually have to say Q10. Even if I'm sitting in front of my computer, when I had my 9900, I did 80% of my emailing on my 9900 and not in Outlook on my laptop.
Right.
So it would have to be sort of, at least when I'm working, it would be the Q10 for sure. And now seeing all the great games that are coming as well, we have that extra tactile feeling when you're pressing the games.
Yeah.
So for those games, the Q10 was.
Because on the Q10 you can press keys, you can program keys for movement.
Yeah,
right?
either keys or the touch or a mix, right?
Or you can use the gamepad controller.
As well, for sure. And as we talked about and announced yesterday with Wi-Fi Direct and Miracast, we're going to be able to wirelessly transmit HD video soon as well, which means that you can still keep your phone in your pocket, even you don't have to hook it up to a wire to get it on your TV.
Yeah, man. Well, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sitting in with us, Anders.
My pleasure.
I'm going to be definitely looking forward to the next event when we get to learn about a whole bunch more new exciting stuff that's going to be happening.
Awesome. Game on.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Cheers.